All right. What is going on, everybody? Happy Tuesday. All right. Happy Tuesday. The jet lag's kind of starting to kick in a little bit. I was cruising all day today, but the jet lag's starting to hit. So I figured we'll go live, seeing if you guys can help keep me awake. Can I get about a tray flip? Will you guys let me know if you guys can hear me okay? Is audio okay? Audio working? I've done this too many times where audio was not working and spoke for too long. Can you guys hear me okay? Will you guys give me a yes, an emoji, a we hear you, we got you? Hear about Lakai, your thoughts. Okay, you guys can hear me? Jay Henry, thank you. Okay, let's see what we got. Okay, everybody can hear me. Hear about Lakai. I did hear about Lakai. I am not saying, I am bummed. I'm not saying this, well, maybe the best way to say it is I actually was surprised that they lasted this long. I thought they were going to go out of business sooner than this. That's not to say that like Lakai sucks. I love Lakai. It just seems really hard to compete as a small core shoe company these days. When are you going to actually check your IG messages? Shoot, the Idle Man group. If I missed it, do you mind sending one to the top? I get a lot of messages each day, so it's really easy to miss it. I'm sorry about that. Shoot me another one. I'll check it after this. What was your favorite trick? My favorite trick, I loved and will forever love back tails. Absolutely love that trick. Favorite flip trick was maybe a nollie flip or switch flip. I really like those tray flips. Thoughts on buying real estate outside of the state you live in? Andrew, Tacoma. Yeah, you can absolutely do it. I own a lot of real estate outside of the state I live in. I would say if you're going to do it, here's some of the things that you need to be mindful of. One, you need to really understand that market. So in a lot of markets, like, let's see, California, for example, right? Somebody, like I love California. That doesn't mean I'm going to invest in I wouldn't invest in Santa Clarita. There's a lot of markets I won't invest in, but I like California as a whole. That applies in other cities, and in some cities it's like street by street. There's a handful of streets that you can invest in. There's some streets that aren't ideal, and vice versa. So you really need to understand the market. You need to have if you're going to buy something existing, you have to have a great property manager. So make sure you find a good property manager. I would not recommend having like a friend do it. I would hire a third-party property manager that is managing a good amount of either homes or apartments in that market. They are going to make or break your investment experience. So make sure that the market's good, that the demand is good. I know there's some people that say you don't have to go see the property. Like there's people that buy it online without looking at it. I don't do that. Our company has a rule. We go to every single property before we close on it. I would recommend doing that. Hey, Mikey, I've been wanting to ask this for a long time. Is crypto hash? That's a good question. Maybe in the grand scheme of things it is, but it's not going to be for long. I think we're going to start really moving into like true mainstream. I have 2 rental properties and live in another house. What's the best way for me to get my monies out of these houses and buy another rental property? Okay, Mark Mueller, it depends. If you have cheap debt, if they're like homes and you have cheap debt on them, it's probably not going to make sense for you to do a cash out refi. You could potentially look at, I guess it's going to depend. How much debt do you have on them and what's your interest rate? That's probably the easiest way, if it's feasible, is a cash out refi, but I'm not sure that's going to be at play for you right now. What's up, Mikey? Hope you're doing well, my friend. Congrats. This is from Connor. Congrats on all the real estate success. Now for my question. Would you encourage younger people? Connor, I didn't get the rest of the question. Wait. Connor, I'm missing the question. Connor, if you don't mind, will you ask the rest of the question? It got broken off. Another Connor 614. What was the waterfall on your first syndication? My very first syndication, I had a 2% management fee and a 35% carried interest with an 8% pref. So I had to get the investor past an 8% preferred return, and then that clipped on the 35-65 split with a 2% asset management fee. And at that time, I might be mistaken, but I think this is accurate. I didn't have an acquisition fee. I didn't have a disposition fee. I didn't have a development fee. The only fee was our asset management fee with a 35% carry after an 8 pref. Mikey, would you support reopening the Brooklyn banks? Of course. I have some questions. This is from Keep Pushing. I have some questions about business. Was wondering if I could pick your brain. Hit me. Keep pushing. Ask the questions. I got you. McNichol, your battle commander should earn you the vote of California governor. I saw that Grant Cardone is floating around the idea of running for governor. I saw that Caitlyn Jenner, she already ran, but I heard she's floating it around, and I heard that Harris is floating it around. Did everybody hear about Harris potentially running for governor? But I know it just came out that she's now thinking about doing another presidential election in 28. But I did hear that she's potentially available for a 26 governorship. Yep, exciting times. Hi, Mikey. I've been wanting to ask you for a while. Oh, sorry, I missed that one. Okay, let's see. 30 to 35% of lumber used in residential building comes from Canada. 25% tariffs seem bad when lack of housing is a serious issue nationwide. Do you think, Joe? So yes, tariffs put on everything is going to cause inflation. This is kind of what I've been saying this whole time about the tariffs is if you're looking at how Trump historically has used them, and I think how he's going to continue to use them moving forward, he uses them as leverage to get what he wants. So, what I think he's mindful of, you don't want to be you don't want to be a president when inflation is going through the roof. You will never get past that. It's a terrible place to be. I think he recognizes that. And so I think he's using this to get things done. Personally, I think he's using it as leverage. We will see. But yes, if all of the wood comes from Canada and there's a tariff put on that wood, it's going to cost more to build homes. How should I go about finding small business associations to find small commercial properties for my business, Papa? Nexit, I don't understand the question. Are you looking at, is the question, how do you find commercial properties? Let me know and then I'll answer it. Why haven't you started a company like P-Rod? Dino, when you say, why haven't I started a company like P-Rod, do you mean like a skateboard company? Is that what you mean by that? All right. Where do you see Dogecoin going in the next year or two? I have no clue. The coins like that, I don't like. I just don't understand it. It just seems like a full-blown hype coin to me. And then if you're not investing in it for any other reason than you're watching hype built so that more people are buying it so that the smart ones are selling before you hit your cliff, I want nothing to do with that, and it's almost impossible to gauge where it's going. This is from Joe Upton, when are they making In Bloom 2? Oh man, I don't think they're going to. There's there's a lot of, actually, Tony Trujillo, Paul Rodriguez, and Chris Cole are still skating. So they could still be in that part. I don't know what happened to Evan Hernandez. I haven't skated or been a pro skateboarder. I'm getting close to 10 years, which is so crazy. Was there anyone else in that video? And Trainwreck. I don't know what happened to Trainwreck. Anybody know what happened to Trainwreck? Can I manage 5 properties myself? Steven, you can manage 5 properties yourself. I just wouldn't recommend it. I'm a big believer in being a real estate investor, not a landlord. And so you just have to ask yourself, what are you trying to accomplish? Are you trying to accomplish the 4 to 5%? Or depending on your asset class, maybe it's more than that. But are you trying to save the property management fee by doing the work yourself? And if you're doing the work yourself, what is the value of your time? And what is it taking away from? For me, I want to be expanding my portfolio. I want more properties. I want more cash flow. I want more wealth built. And so that's why I don't recommend you managing your properties, because now you're a property manager and you're saving yourself money that the asset can be paying to free up your time to go be doing other things, which I think should be focused on either making more money, buying more properties, or both. So I wouldn't recommend it. Mark Mueller, half paid off on all 3. What's your interest rates on them? How should I go about finding small? Oh, I missed that one. What's your stance on stocks versus real estate? I have done pretty well in the stock market, and it seems difficult to make those same returns on real estate. Standard procedure. So for me personally, I've done a lot better in real estate than I have in the stock market. But that might be a function of what we invest in. Like for my investments in the stock market, I was investing in funds. I wasn't investing in individual stocks. So if you're invested in like an individual stock and that stock's been going nuts, then yeah, you might be making more money in the stock market. If you're investing in funds or the index, then it's a lot easier to make more than that in real estate. So I think it just depends on what you're invested in and then comparing the risk of the two. So a lot of times what we do is we only compare returns and we don't compare the risk profile to each of those investments. And so you might look at real estate making you a 15%, annualized return. You might be, looking at a stock that's made you 21 and you're like, the stock's better. I'm making an extra 6%. But if you're taking significantly more risk on the stock than you are on real estate, you need to factor that in. Now, some people don't care about risk. I always have. And so based on risk is helping me allocate the larger percentages towards an investment. I'm not going to put all my portfolio into a high risk investment. I'm typically putting the majority of my portfolio into a lower risk investment and then stacking higher risk on top of that in smaller amounts. From Yaquin, Mikey, can you give a shout out to my country Suriname? Suriname? Is that how you say it? Thinking back to 101, when looking at an investment property, aside from BE point, how do you figure out what a feasible ROI would be? Top 3 books would you recommend? That really funny American dude. Okay, so there's a handful of ways to do it. It's going to be dependent on the asset class that you're investing in and the hold period. I would say that's such a hard one to answer considering there are so many different strategies and asset classes to do. Maybe the easy way to do it is if you're looking at the 4 basic strategies, if you have core plus, core, value add, and opportunistic or development, maybe you can make the argument that core plus is going to be very close to bonds. So let's call it 5 to 7%. Let's say core is going to be your, let's say low leveraged, stabilized properties in good markets. Let's call it 7 to 10%. And then value add, let's call that 11 to 15. And then opportunistic or development, let's call that north of 15. So I would say that's like a very broad strokes. Good books to read for real estate. I really like the book Set for Life. That's a really good one. You can get that on Bigger Pockets. You're curious about calculating valuation. So valuations in real estate is based on cap rates and net operating income. So you're going to find out what the cap rate for the certain asset class in that market is, and then you're going to divide that by the net operating income, which is going to give you the value of the property. Like small business not owned by big companies, like a commerce that lists mom and pop shops. Yes, I like businesses that are not owned by corporations, 100%. Dogecoin might come back because Elon Musk is gaining more popularity. Elon Musk is like the value of Doge. In considering, it would be sick if his new Doge, the Department of Government Efficiency, what if they tied that to the coin somehow? That would be sick. I would invest in Dogecoin if that was the case. In considering the artful arrangement of space and the human compulsion to tame chaos, one might ponder the purpose of storage units, not merely as repositories for forgotten relics, but as monuments. From Hella Hangers. That sounded like ChatGPT wrote that. Look, you can definitely make the argument that the only reason there's demand for storage is because we don't like getting rid of things. Totally fair. Like, they don't have storage units in Europe. This is like a full-blown American thing. So there's demand, it's going to be built. If people stop hoarding stuff, demand's going to go away, they'll be repurposed into something. If someone has over 80K in savings, how do I get into real estate? Joseph, you have a handful of options. You can either do it actively or passively. Active means that you're going to do it yourself. So you are going to find the property, you're going to get it under contract, you're going to do your due diligence, you're going to get the financing, you're going to, I would recommend getting a property manager for it, then you're going to manage the property manager. And then you could do that in any asset class. So with $80,000, it's most likely going to be single family. And so if that's something you wanted to do, you need to figure out how to underwrite the project, which basically means you need to figure out how to plug in the numbers to know if it's even a good purchase and good investment. There's a lot of property or investment calculators that you can get. I think Bigger Pockets has one. And then you start making relationships with brokers, and then you start trying to get deal flow, or you start basically cold calling owners and trying to get them to sell you something. The other way to do it is passively. That's all of our investors that invest in our company are passive investors. That basically means that they want to invest in real estate, but they don't want to do the work. So they invest in the projects that we promote. And so you can do that. There's a lot of companies like mine out there that will allow limited partners, which is what you would be, to come in to invest in real estate so that you can have real estate ownership, you can have cash flow appreciation, you get depreciation loss without having to do the work. So those are your options. Josh Reyes, ED1, there is an opportunity right now in affordable housing. Awesome. Definitely appreciate it. You got it, my man. Rocket Skates, what's going on? All right. Thoughts on the crypto market right now? Need a hand job? My thoughts on the crypto market, I don't even, like, honestly, like, it's cool when you look at your wallets and go, oh, my money's up. But the stuff that I'm invested in, I'm not selling anyway. So it's a good feeling, but I don't know if it really means anything right now. What do you think of investing to own a vacational Airbnb condo in a high tourist location outside of the country like Mexico? For example, Cancun or Puerto Vallarta. Okay, so for me personally, I have a little bit of a contrarian view on this. There's a lot of people that do exactly what you're talking about. I don't. I don't own vacation properties. I don't think I'm ever going to own a vacation property. And I'm most likely never going to own an Airbnb in a tourist area because it doesn't fit the risk profile that I want in real estate. Here's what I don't like about Airbnb. And it doesn't mean that this doesn't work. It doesn't mean that this might not be a strategy for you. It's just not for me. I don't like the regulation, the regulatory risk with Airbnb. And I don't like that if it's in a tourist market, you basically don't have a plan B. The second there's a downturn, people stop traveling. And if they stop traveling, you watch demand come way down. And in those tourist markets, you don't have, in a lot of cases, an opportunity to put a long-term tenant in it. And so that thing goes negative cash flow. And so I don't like that. I personally like real estate that performs well during downturns. The main reason being is when downturns happen, I want to be buying. I do not want to be spending all my energy trying to protect my assets. And so I'm very mindful of investing in product, apartments and storage units that do well during downturns so that I can be buying in those moments. So that's why I don't do it. How can I get an investment property without any landlord history needed for a loan? Maribel, you're saying that because you've never been a landlord, you can't get a loan? Is that what you're saying? If it is, hopefully this will give you comfort. I have never been a landlord, ever. And I currently own 23 properties that are valued north of $300 million. And that's $175 million in debt on those properties. So, and that's on the commercial side, which is even harder to get. I have no landlord experience. So I don't know why that would be a challenge for you. What I would say is if you're getting an investment property, I'd recommend getting a property manager. And then if you're getting the loan, say this is who you're using for your property manager, is what I'd recommend. Hey, Mikey, just wanted to say thank you for the advice on life and work separation. I have some healthy boundaries now and just want to say thank you. Cosmicky, I'm so glad, man. That was something that I had to learn the hard way. Thankfully, I learned it. I'm very glad I could help in that one. A kid named Dirty. You got it. All right. Will I ever skate again? I'll skate again. I'll never skate professionally again, but yeah, I'll skate again for sure. I thought you were buttery on the board, man. You did some sick technar in the streets. Thank you. I appreciate that. Your DC shoe was the best, man. I liked my DC shoe a lot. That was one of my favorite shoes I ever had. I don't understand that question. All right. Who gave the best financial advice in your life and what was it? Okay, the best financial advice I ever got. Man, I've got a lot of good financial advice. I would say the best I ever got was probably from Randy, who's my financial advisor. And a few of the gems he gave me are basic, and they were so valuable. The very first one was he kind of, ingrained this in me from a young age. Do not increase your expenses when you make more money. Lifestyle creep is so real. So he really put it on me that I need to basically keep my expenses solid and then make more money, and then I'll have more money to invest. That was a big one. The golden goose, I actually just made a video on this. The golden goose was a big one. Basically building out an investment portfolio that makes a return for you. And then once you get to the point of being financially free, you just live off the returns. You don't kill the golden goose. You don't sell the investments. You don't live on savings. You get money invested, and then if you want, you live on the return so that you're never bringing down the size of your investment portfolio that's driving that return. That was a big one. And then uncorrelated investments is a pretty rad one as well. Like learning to have or build out your portfolio so that you get to a point where you have 8 uncorrelated investments. And when you create that, you basically get in a position where you're maximizing upside and limiting downside. That was pretty cool. You guys killing the interview on YT. Keep them coming. Really enjoyed the Let's Get interview with you and your partner. I appreciate that. That was a cool interview. And you know what I decided to do? I decided to get more skaters on the podcast. Greg Lutzko was only the second skater that we've had on in 20-something episodes. So P-Rod and Greg were the 2 skaters. I'm going to get more skaters on it. I really liked that. And honestly, I had a call with, I'm not going to say his name because I don't know if he wants me to say this, but I had a call with a very large skateboarder, pro skateboarder, and he wanted to ask me some investment questions. And I was blown away. Like, he was so ahead of the curve, incredibly smart, like crushing it. And so I'm realizing that this new breed of skater is way more investment savvy than my generation. So I want to get some of them on. All right, gang, I've got to wrap it up. I've got to get out of here. Love you guys. Thank you for hanging with me. Have a great rest of the week. Happy Thanksgiving, and I will see you all soon.